So this is what we're going to cover. We're going to cover a good amount of information from the EOS Life by Gino Wickman. Matthew, why don't you talk a little bit about this? Because I know you introduced this to our company a few years back.
Yeah, so you've heard us talk about on our podcast traction and the EOS model for running a business, and how I kind of fell into that. I actually had a guy I was part of a group called Vistage. I had a guy come and basically present the EOS model in Vistage, and he said, if you haven't read this book, you need to read it. And I actually got it on audio, and I was listening to it on the road, and it was more like listening to an how-to instruction book. And so don't listen to it. You actually have to buy the book. So sorry, all of you that prefer to listen to audiobooks. But I read the book, got really excited about it. And for me, what Traction solved was, as an entrepreneur or as a person running a business, you're constantly bombarded with like issues, things that are breaking. You're constantly getting ideas. You're constantly having to communicate. And there's really no framework for running a business like that out there. Like you don't just you kind of like naturally fall into a framework, but generally speaking, it's not super intentional. It's like when you see a problem, all you do is you create a meeting or something to try to keep that problem from happening. And what I found in the book Traction is that I could be very intentional with how I built the business, because this guy, Gino Wickman, had helped other people build their business, and it's very agnostic to which industry. And I was able to implement it in an Evernest, and we did a great job of running it, and we've been very loyal to the system and growing the organization. And so when Gino came out with this book called the EOS Life, it's basically like, and probably many of you on here are already running EOS, but EOS Life is all about turning your life, using some of the same principles that you learn in Traction and EOS, moving those over and then running those personally. And so I actually we'll do this almost exact same talk internally to our leaders in our organization. And what we think is this is a great way to set goals, because remember, EOS has the VTO, which talks about setting goals, and we're actually going to get into some of that here on the webinar. But this is basically teaching you to use some of those same tools in your own life, and to make the entrepreneurial journey, goes from sometimes miserable to tolerable to actually even enjoying it. And so we're going to talk about that today.
So I would love to know if you want to put in the chat, how many of you are running Traction currently? Go ahead and say, if you're running your company through Traction, would love to just say yes, or an emoji, thumbs up emoji, or whatever. Would love to see that. We've got a few that are, several. Nice. So you're familiar with this. So these are actually right here what we have on the screen. These are the main headings that we're going to hit each one of these. Doing what you love with the people you love, making a huge difference, being compensated appropriately, with time for other passions.